First, I must give some backstory. When I was younger, I worked for my lake community during the summer season for as long as I remember. The jobs ranged from dishwasher, maintenance worker, and boat tender. My last job and longest one was beach security. The lake had a small beach with a building that had a game room, a deck overlooking the beach, a restaurant, a small motel, and a lobby for guests of the hotel and restaurant. I was assigned to check in guests of the beach and make sure they were members in good standing, who paid their community dues, and also to enforce the rules be set on the whole area. I would get a lot of flack from this job from Karens, crusty teens, and other idiots who were up for the summer. It came with all the drama that you would see on a CW teen drama show. The story took place during the summer and fall of 2011. I graduated college, and I promised myself that this would be the last year I would work for the community. I was tired of the drama, and I was ready to find a real job. To bank more money this year, I also took the position of doing night duty as beach security. For this, I would monitor the property for 3 more hours after the game room and restaurant closes at 11 p.m., and I would make sure no one is trespassing on the property. I would mostly walk the property and then stay in the lobby area, watch TV, and play on my Nintendo Ds until my shift is over. 98% of the time, it would come and go, but sometimes I would see the occasional deer, raccoon, fox, and black bear walk the deck. I would also have to ask people to leave and/or call the community security for assistance. I should mention, I am an unarmed security guard and I don't own anything for self-defense in this time of the story. One night in July, I was watching Adult Swim on the TV with a sliding glass door behind me that led to the deck. The show that I was watching goes to commercial break and screen goes black. When that happens, I see on the reflection of the TV screen someone standing on the deck looking into the door and looking at me. I immediately jolted up and turned to the figure and just stared at him. The guy was about 5'8", wearing a dirty black hoodie with a white Adidas logo on it, navy blue basketball shorts, and white sneakers. With his hood up, I couldn't make out his face, but I can tell he was a white male with bright red dyed hair that was underneath his hood and seemed a bit younger than me at the time. He was just standing there, swaying slightly, and he had his hands in his pockets. He was staring at me, but also it was like he was looking through me. It took me a second to collect myself, and then I walked to the glass door and slid it open. Me. Hello, sir. I am sorry, but the beach and deck is closed for the night. I have to ask you leave the property and come back when we open back up in the morning. Hooded guy. When is that? He was very monotone and seemed tired but jittery. Me, that would be 8 o'clock in the morning. Hooded guy. Okay. Can I come in and use the bathroom? At this point, I felt something much more off about this guy. I have dealt with drunks and people being super high, but this guy seemed to be on something else, and I didn't want any part of it. Me, I am sorry, but no one is allowed in here unless they are guests of the hotel and restaurant, which are both closed for the night. Now please, sir, can you please leave the beach? He seemed to get a bit annoyed by that, but his body language barely changed. Hooded guy, fine. I guess I will go find somewhere else to shit. He then walks off. I made it a point to follow him off the deck and watch him walk away to make sure he leaves. Instead of heading up the road, he veered off into the woods. He was out of my sight, but I could hear him dragging his feet through the brush and sticks. After that, I walked back into the lobby and locked the door behind and called the dispatch and reported the incident and asked to keep an eye out for the guy. 2 ROAM came, and I locked everything up, armed the security system, and left. I started to drive out of the beach area, and as I started to turn left, a balloon full of this red liquid stuff flew from the woods and slammed against my passenger window. I got startled and floored it out of there. I wasn't going to get out and see what happened there, and I only lived 5 minutes from the beach. I got home and checked out the damage. My passenger door was covered in red paintball paint. The impact was enough to dent my door. I called it in and asked them to keep their eyes out and check the area for the guy. The next day I was told that they didn't see anybody there, but got reports of the same thing happening to other residents' cars or houses. I was pissed, but also unnerved that happened to me in the first place. Time has passed, and it is fall. The beach closed for the season, but they still needed a night guard to make sure no one vandalized the property. It was the week of Halloween, and it was also my last night. I got a job working at a much better job, and this was the last of my 2-week notice. I also went to a Halloween party during the day, and went all out as Jason Voorhees with a machete from Walmart as well. I was wrapping up for the night, and I was just sitting outside of my car, talking my friend's ear off on my cell phone. As I was talking, I could hear some leaves rustling and twigs snapping in the woods behind the dumpster. I told my friend that I had to go, and I hung up. This was my dumb white person in a horror movie moment. I walked slightly closer to where the noise was coming. It was dark but slightly lit from the parking lot's lights. As I was looking, from behind the dumpster comes the same guy I saw in July. His hood was down, and I could see his hair was longer, with his natural brown hair roots were longer than the red dye that was left. He began to fast walk up to me, growling, and his face was plastered with rage. He had a black iron pipe in his right hand, and he was swinging it a bit while he came at me. He covered a lot of ground quickly. I ran to my car, and I opened the back passenger door I was facing. I grabbed the machete I bought for the party, and I raised it over my hand and stood my ground. I don't remember what I said to him. I was filled with so much adrenaline, but I know I cursed a lot. He seemed to stop and stood there for a bit. After I yelled and shook the machete a bit, he simply turned around and went back into the woods from where he came. As soon as he cleared the dumpster, I got the hell out of there. I was going way too fast for the windy roads my community had. I called not only security, but the police as well. By the time they got there, he was nowhere to be seen again. 4 years later, I moved away from my community and haven't heard anything new about the man or anything related to the incident. I now carry a knife, and I still have the same machete in my car, just in case.